Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Fan Art Friday. This week I'm working on a drawing of L from Death Note, and I recently had so much fun working on the drawings of Ryuk and Light, so I wanted to make sure I worked on this one. I'm having so much fun watching the show, and I have wanted to continue working on these because it's given me the opportunity to work with inks. I'm really enjoying working on the daily drawings for Inktober, so I wanted to try and continue practicing the inks with these drawings as well, and this has been a good opportunity for that. So as you can see, I started off by working on the pencil sketch with my mechanical pencil, and then I moved on to working on the outlines with a Pigma Micron pen. Specifically the Pigma Micron 05, which is 0.45mm. It's quite thick, but it allows me to give those thick and thin lines, and changing up the line thickness in drawings like these is something that I'd really like to do. I also decided to bring out my Pentel pocket brush pen to add some really thick areas of inking to Elle's hair and eyes. After that, it was time to move on to the colouring, and for the colouring I used Copic Markers, starting off with pinkish white to add a faded bit of colouring all the way around the face, and around the eyes and underside of the hair and those kind of areas. After that I used the Cool Grey 3 to add some darker shading over the top of that, but even still it was too faded for my liking, so I decided to use Pale Grape and Light Grape over the top of all of that, just to add a bit more colour and some darker tones to it. Using the Light Grape also underneath Elle's nose and mouth, just to make those areas stand out as well. For the darkened shading underneath the eyes I used a Cool Grey 7, and then for the eyes themselves I used a mixture of Cool Grey 3, 5 and 7 as well. To add the little dot of highlighting to the eyes I used my Uniball Signo Broad Pigmenting White pen, and I actually also decided to use that pen to add a highlight going all the way around both eyes of the lower eyelid. Just trying to make the eyes stand out a bit more. Once Elle's face had been coloured, it was time to move on to the hair, and in the areas that I hadn't added any ink, I used a Cool Grey 7, making sure to leave the areas that I'd marked with Pigma Micron for highlighting, and then filling in those areas with the Cool Grey 3 afterwards. I also wanted to make those areas stand out a bit more, so I used the highlighter pen again, just adding an outline all the way around each highlight, and just hopefully making it a little bit more prominent. Once that was completed, I then moved on to adding some darker shading to Elle's neck, and then used the Cool Grey markers to add some shading around his shirt, and just adding some creases in the fabric and that sort of thing. And then for the final part of this drawing I wanted to add a background. I kind of messed up with the background to begin with, using the wrong colour choice, and I really wasn't happy with it, so I decided to cover it up by using some darker blues, using Prussian blue and sky blue. But even still, the mistake I made was showing underneath, so I used my Pentel pocket brush pen to add a thick layer of black ink around the lower half of the drawing in a kind of diagonal line. And actually I was really pleased with how this looked in the end. It was a different style than I usually use, just to cover up the mistake I made, but I think it worked out better than it would have in the end anyway, so I'm really pleased with that. From making a mistake, I think it worked out in the end. For the final touch, I added a highlight going all the way around Elle, and just make him stand out from that background. And after that the drawing was completed. Overall it took about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours to complete. It was really fun to work on, and I wanted to make sure I worked on it after working on the drawings of Ryuk and Light. Please let me know what you think of this drawing in the comments below, and if you have any more suggestions for future videos then please let me know as well. I always really appreciate seeing your suggestions. If you enjoyed drawing videos then make sure you're subscribed, and any likes or shares are hugely appreciated. If you want to follow along with my progress photos through the week and keep up to date with everything I'm working on, then be sure to check out the links in the description box below to check out my Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And once again, thank you so much for the support on this channel. I can't wait to work on the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.